Hello, everyone. I am off to a very special place today. I will give you a hint. It is the second largest art market in the world. If you guessed London, you would be correct. I am in London to see some really fantastic exhibits. In this video, as well as my next video, we will be specifically exploring art exhibits in the neighborhood of Mayfair. Our first stop of the day is Galerie Thaddeaus to see an exhibit of works by the American artist Joan Snyder, who's been creating work for the past 6 decades. And she's really having a moment right now. I'm so happy for her. This show is titled Body and Soul, and that's because Snyder has really poured her heart and soul into these works, seeking out the expression of raw emotion and capturing a variety of motifs that are deeply personal to her. This exhibit is really special because it's set up almost like a mini retrospective where you can see examples of her works over the course of various decades, particularly the evolution of 3 main groups of work: the stroke paintings, symphony paintings, and field paintings. In this room, we actually see examples of all 3, and you can see an immediate difference between them, especially the stroke paintings and the field paintings. I love how the galleries included quotes of hers on the wall beside many of the paintings, as well as in the hallways. It almost feels like you have Joan there with you, kind of narrating and giving commentary on the exhibit. So you probably already could have guessed, these are her stroke paintings, and they explore the quote anatomy of painting through these brightly colored bars on the canvas. So she started creating these in the late 1960s and early 1970s, and it is the series that she's most famous for. To give some other familiar points of references for what was going on at the time when she was creating these, she created these paintings during a time where minimalism, abstract expressionism, and color field painting were prevalent in the New York art scene. So these were far more expressive in terms of texture and number of colors used than what her peers were doing at the time. Some of the darker paintings in this room are a part of her field paintings, which she created in the 1980s. And they're depicting the agricultural landscapes that she encountered when she relocated from New York City to upstate New York. This one could potentially be both a field and symphony painting since it's depicting a landscape, but it was inspired by Beethoven's Symphony No. 9. Upstairs are some more examples of Snyder's symphony paintings, which are her visual interpretations of the music she's experiencing. So, music is a core pillar of Snyder's practice. She, quote, regularly attends classical and vocal music concerts where she enters a self described meditative space, sketching in the dark as the music flows through her. Some of her favorites include, but are not limited to, Bach cantatas, requiems, the music of Philip Glass, Nina Simone, and Amy Winehouse. As you can see by the depth of these works, Snyder also incorporates unconventional materials into her works, especially those that she's created in the past decade. So some common materials that you'll see are papier mâché, burlap, just a variety of cloths in general, paper, and then natural materials like dried flowers and various plants. I also want to call out that there is a catalog to accompany the show. You will be able to get it in the United States at the end of February. So I will leave the link for pre-ordering that below in case you want to learn more about Joan Snyder and her practice. The next show is just a few doors down at Galerie Max Hetzler, who has spaces in Paris, London, and Berlin. This is a group show titled On Paper, and it features works from 25 artists who span a wide variety of generations, and they're all exploring the potential of paper. One of my favorite pieces in the show was this 16-part watercolor from Günter Forg, created in 1998. Many works in the show are great examples of how sketches on paper can serve as both studies for larger compositions, as well as just lower stakes material for exploring personal creativity and potential. The show continues in a newer second gallery space just down the hall. Overall, I think this show is great at A, highlighting all of the incredible artists that the gallery works with, and B, the diversity of how paper can be used as a medium. I was shocked to discover that this is a work by Grace Weaver, who normally depicts figures. So this is kind of a fun departure for her, and I'm very interested to see where she goes with this new direction. Our next stop is Skarstedt Gallery to see an exhibit by Jana Schröder, and thank the heavens they decided to extend this exhibit by a couple of weeks because I was actually able to see it when I was in town. And today is the final day, so we are cutting it very close. The exhibit is titled MIGHT, which stands for The Metamorphosis in Generative Human Thinking. And it's an acronym that Schröder invented to describe the ongoing technological revolution and the quote, parallels between neurological communication and the overwhelming flood of information that permeates our culture today. The show explores how our constant digital engagement, which I know is ironic because you're watching this on YouTube right now, but how our constant digital engagement can shape our perception, our attention, and our understanding of the world around us. And it also highlights the tension between what our brains are able to actually comprehend versus how intensely we're being fed information on a regular basis. The nervous system has been a constant theme in Schröder's works throughout the years, with many of the titles of her most well-known series being inspired by the nervous system, such as Cineclips, Frontrax, Cineclips SPE, and Cortexophys. The series titles are combinations of words related to neuroscience and brain function. So, for example, Cineclips combines synapse, which is the connection point between neurons that enables communication, with clips, hinting at snippets of information or digital content. And Cortexophys combines cortex, so the brain's outermost layer of nerve cell tissue, with Ophidia, which is a reference to a group of snakes, which is a direct reference to the story in Genesis describing the fall of men. Maybe she's hinting that technology will be the fall of men. I'm personally guessing that Schröder's works that are a part of her Cineclips series explore how the information that we intake from various digital sources impacts how we communicate. And then the works in her Cortexophys series explore the battle between humans and machine and explore the age-old question of if technology is foe or friend. But that is just my personal takeaway. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts about this as well in the comments below. We're going to end this video at White Cube Gallery with an exhibit by the American artist Virginia Overton. The show is titled Paintings, which if you look around, that may seem a little strange at first, since many of these works appear to be sculptures, especially if you get close, at least in the traditional sense. And she is doing this on purpose. She wants to challenge the traditional distinction between painting and sculpture so that maybe we as the viewer will reconsider the definitions and the boundaries of these mediums. What do you think makes a painting or a sculpture a sculpture? So, for example, she's hanging these works on the wall and not presenting them on the floor like a sculpture would be. And she's also containing her materials to the shape of the canvas, or at least some type of contained perimeter. The show continues in this stunning, expansive space downstairs. And all of the bodies of work down here, which we can see right now, except for this quite dynamic aluminum piece in the very beginning, were created from materials sourced from the iconic signage of the decommissioned Domino Sugar Factory in Brooklyn, which really brought me back because I remember when Kara Walker had her exhibit in the Sugar Factory right before they began renovating it to create what I think are now luxury apartments. It was such an incredible show. I really wish I had my YouTube back then so I could have shared it with you all. But yeah, the materials from the signs are this yellow typeface, which create the works you can see here, as well as this gray galvanized steel. This work was actually created this year in 2025, which is quite impressive considering we are still in the first quarter. And it's titled Untitled Nude Descending a Staircase, which is a clear reference to Marcel Duchamp's famous painting from 1912. And that is all for this video, but don't worry, we will continue seeing some really fantastic art exhibits in the London neighborhood of Mayfair in my next video. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on that, and I will see you all there.